And we are live. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Aaron the Dog is back with the full crew this week for UFC Louisville, also known as Louisville UFC from the KFC Yum Center. Back with us this week is the full crew. Out with the Timmy and with the Louie. Also 2 Cents and a Lucky Locks with me for this week. Got the full crew. Jimmy, what up, Jimmy? Handsome Jimmy there. Noah in the chat. Stubborn Mick, I don't know if he's here or just stuck by to say hi to Dev and Manny, and then Juan Cruz. Long live the coin. I think the coin will get called tonight. But before we get started, I'll go around. Lou, how you feeling about this week's card?
I'm sorry I'm not Tim. I don't even know if I need the sombrero, but always good to have it within arm's reach. I love this card. This is probably my favorite betting card of the calendar year. I've been having like 2-3 bets. I mean, after I won literally all the money on Real Madrid and every prop last week, I promptly went 2-2 on the card. I think the Price Morono fight is still going. I'm confident that if there wasn't like an actual stop time in that fight, they'd still be fighting and throwing one strike around, and I'd still be waiting on my under. That fight was deplorable. Other than that, like, I got to see Kevin Holland take an arm home. Main event was cool. I think this card's going to be weirdly good, except for 3 or 4 fights, which are going to be so bad. But I'm here for it. It's a good betting card for us. So I'm excited to break it down, son.
Yeah, besides the good fights or bad fights, they're good fights. I will agree with that breakdown. That's why we brought Lou back here. And last week's card was a shit show, but it's okay. Somebody hit the Nico Price on here, so we'll talk to him in a minute, but he was last up, so he'll be last to be spoken to. Back with us, you can take down the jersey. The season is over. I've taken down my bandwagon Avs jersey this postseason, my bandwagon Stars jersey.
Don't listen to that bullshit. I still got my fucking Vegas and Golden Knights.
And my Knights jersey.
You don't listen to bullshit, Lucky.
And my Red Wings jersey from losing out in the playoffs by collapsing. So, I have 4 jerseys in my trash can. Lucky Locks, how you doing? Welcome back.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I was doing well until you had to make that very painful observation. But, yeah, I mean, Panthers, great hockey team, man. Better team this year. So, not much I can say there. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. I think it's a good card. A lot of good fights on here. Should be fun. Last week, main event was cool. I thought the rest of the card was pretty boring. So, hopefully we get some action this week. So, I'm looking forward to chopping it up.
Yes, sir. And with us, the price is white. The price is right. Just my 2 cents. How are you doing?
What is up, boys? I'm doing very well. Aaron, first and foremost, thank you as always for having me. It is a real treat to be back with this excellent panel. Shout out to everyone in the chat, boys. I see you. Make sure y'all smash the like button for Aaron coming off a winning week. I feel like I'm kind of in the minority. I feel like a lot of people got their fucking ass whooped silly. And I managed to escape with all my money back in a little fucking bus fare for the ride home. So, yeah, I'll take it, man. Yeah, I did nail Nico Price, but I got to give Noah Allen all the credit. That's my dude. Shout out to homie Noah, man. He was saying he was screaming Nico Price from the mountaintops early in the fucking week, and I just followed him to glory. So I got to give him all the credit there. And nailed the pub parlay. It was Lima, Hafez, and Kevin Holland. And looking to hit that for the 3rd time in a row. Would love to hit a Zhongli. I know cashing one of those is not too far from happening. So let's fucking go. But yeah, great to be back.
Yep. And with the Zhongli, and then we'll get into a little tease on it. I had 2 ways I was thinking about going with it. One of which includes a dog I want nothing to do with betting separately. So I decided to throw him in to turn it into a plus 1,600 dog. Or we can go with the safer one without the dog I'd never play in my life. So anyways, we're going to get into the card here. And I'm excited to talk about this one. Probably more excited than the last few weeks, honestly. good opportunity. Right off the bat, we've got a nearly minus 300 favorite who lost her debut by a robbery, but still, or by a robbery-ish, by a close fight to Talita Alankar, who Talita Alankar is not good. Puja Tomar said, hold my beer. I am even worse at fighting in general. She's basically just a little striker who is waiting for the atomweight division to open up. India MMA, not on the rise, believe it or not. And I don't think it changes here, really. Ryan Amanda, I get it. She's 14-7. I get it. She's not looked all that great, but like she's just beat a better level of competition. And I get it when your best win is Jillian DeCourcy. That being the better level of competition is pretty bad. No offense to her, I get it, but
no, it's very bad. She's
it's
6
not very
40.
bad. No, it's worse.
Jabroni DeCourcy.
All right, last person to the panel, you'll get your chance to go last. Decorum. But with Puja, like her best win is, I don't know, B Nguyen, the girl who was on Survivor and had to leave because she hurt her knee, and has an OnlyFans while posting her biblical quote. Either way, like I'm not a huge fan of either fighter in the spot. I'm not betting Ryan Amanda at all, but if you want me to bet Puja Tomar, it's going to have a 4 or more in front of the name, and it doesn't yet. So, if I'm blind betting low-level MMA here, maybe Puja gets a bet, but honestly, Puja's just a pure stand-up fighter, undersized. She's going to get taken down and submitted probably. Lou? Or it's probably going to be a decision because God hates us. Lou?
First and foremost, Jillian DeCourcy would be minus 400 against Puja and like wreck that bitch. Wreck her, dude.
I love that you think on the feet. Sure fucking thing.
I don't know, like this line. Look, I am famously one of these people that's like, betting somebody minus 300 or over in women's MMA, what could possibly go wrong? Dude, Puja Tomar, I don't know. First of all, she's 83 pounds. Like, I don't care what the scales say. She's like nothing. This is literally the most biggest setup fight to start off a live crowd card you can make, because you're putting somebody's complete deficiency of stopping a takedown, and not just stopping a takedown, but doing anything to get up against somebody whose biggest thing is, I'm only good at really taking somebody down and submitting people. I like Ryan Amanda Santos round 1, round 2. When FanDuel opens up round 1, round 2 sub, if it's like any kind of like substantial difference, I'd take it. If not, I'm ballparking what I think it will be. It'll be plus 170. I think that's as good as her money line right now, because I think if this fight gets out of the second and Amanda has nothing left, at least Puja, her cardio seems to be okay. But like against who? She's not getting like grappled for 10 minutes. That's what's going to happen here. This is a setup spot. This is literally somebody's best strong point against somebody's biggest, weakest point. And Indian MMA is, not a thing that's going to happen outside of India. So yeah, give me poor Brazilian Jillian Robertson because of the red hair. Round 1 submission. I think 1 takedown, this fight's over. I think the line's justified. And
okay, we have pitted Lou against 2 cents, but before we can get to 2 cents, whose mic is already unmuted. Sorry, Lucky.
No, I love the Jillian Robertson comparison, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. Calm your tits. Or Lucky.
I just said I love the.
Calm your tits.
I was gonna compliment.
Calm the tits down.
I was complimenting Luke.
Oh my God, Lucky.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump in. I get that Puja Tomar is the A side here. I get that the UFC wants her to win. They're trying to grow the sport in India, a massive market that's been largely untapped. But I mean, yeah, Tomar is not good. I think she's one of the worst fighters in the organization. high on Amanda maybe isn't that far off the conversation either. But yeah, like this fight is a complete pass for me. I mean, as low as I am on Amanda, I think she's a lot better than Puja Tomar. I'm not going to be involved with this fight in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, I'll give the floor to 2 cents and we'll open this
Yeah,
thing up.
I wonder who he is on here. 2 cents. Please reveal the mystery. Are you on?
You are, and I love that you set it up that way because you already know who I'm on. Like, it's obviously not a secret, but I'm actually not going to go crazy. I'm not going to do last week like Costa. I am obviously on Tomar, but I will give my case for her. And y'all already laid out the side for Amanda. I mean, it is pretty clearly a striker versus grappler, but I do agree that it's a setup. And I think they're setting it up for Puja. I mean, Lucky already kind of alluded to it. They're pushing her. She's the first female fighter in the UFC. You're going to hear that like anytime they fucking even get close to mentioning this fight, that's the first thing you're going to hear. But I think they're setting it up for her because they're giving a girl that's close to her size. Yes, I know she's super tiny. Yes, I know she sucks. But so does High-On Amanda. They're two chicks that both have twice as many wins as losses. But like, if we're going to snicker about losses to a shitty fighter from 4 years ago, I will see you that Killer B Nguyen and raise you a fucking Edna Oliveira. Ever heard of that fucking sorry ass jobber? She's 11-12 and she beat High-On Amanda. So I think it's striker versus grappler. And boys, this is giving me serious like Cornholio Mullins, Denise Gomes, fucking Jasmine Haragi vibes to a lesser extent. I just think she's the better striker. She comes out like a bat out of hell sometimes. I think she's just going to blitz her the fuck up out of there. She kind of looks shitty on the feet against Jillian DeCourcy, who is her best win and who's not a very good fighter in an inferior organization. So yeah, give me the striker here. It's like over 2-1 now, but I get it. She could get taken down and choked, but if it stays on the feet, High-On Amanda is going to get fucked up and knocked out. So yeah, give me of course, Mr. Reverse CLV. I bet her at plus 190 early, and she's now like plus 230 or something. So let's fucking go. Best of luck, everyone. But yeah, that's my side.
Okay. Well, Justin, welcome to the chat. And she's from India. Hell yeah. Go India Pacers. Reggie Miller.
He's I
amazing.
swear, whatever medication they
A
gave
to
him
B
start the
connection.
year, dude,
Straight
it's
line.
miracle drug, whatever they gave.
The
Justin
government
Davis.
is finally doing their job with the supplement.
Miracle drug, dude. He is funniest person of like.
It's a comeback story.
It's over. Like he's won the contest. He won the contest in like March.
Yeah,
Funniest
so
chatter we have. It's
So
done.
we're gonna move on. By the way, at the 10:50 mark, if you want to mark out that short Jimmy the Drunk 10:50 to like probably 11:50, you can put that after Puja puts on her clinic on Saturday. Please clip that out for your show. But minus 310. Brian,
Yeah, hammer a chick that lost to an 11-12 chick the same time that
because that's exactly what I've been touting this entire show. I make this show for my family, 2 cents for my family.
and also she did fucking knock B Nguyen out. She did get the revenge there, and fucking High-End never avenged her loss to that great fucking 11-12 fighter. So
she's dodging Edna. You're right. You solved it. All right. Next fight, we're moving on. We're moving up 20 pounds here to 135 for another straight clash of styles here, in my opinion. Cody Staman versus Taylor Lapilus, the Frenchman with questionable takedown defense, but always stays in the fight. Otherwise, I had to win over Colin Laughlin in his debut there, where he did give up some takedowns, gave up some control sometimes, but Colin just kind of ran out of the gas there. Then came up short against Farid Basharat, did give up the takedowns in that one. Last time out, Douglas Silva de Andrade kind of put it on Staman. Looked like he had found a fountain of youth like he does. The wins that Staman's had have been Lacerda, Eddie Wineland, nothing special at this point. The line's getting to the point where it's hard to ignore. And I do think that while Staman might have some trouble with the range and especially on the feet, I do think he can get the takedowns going. So this is another spot where for me, it's dog or pass, not another spot, but I should say it's a spot where it's dog or pass for me. But plus 220, it's definitely getting close to the line where I can't really ignore it. But Staman is pretty tough to trust at this point also, but I just don't know what Lapilus has done to be a minus 270, almost minus 300 favorite at this point. So if I had to bet it, it would be Staman's side. Fight ends in a split decision seems pretty likely in this one, or possible in this one, I should say. But most likely what happens is Staman early, and then, if any, and then Taylor Lapilus as the fight goes on. So maybe a live bet for Taylor Lapilus if the price is right. But otherwise, not much of a bet here. Plus 220, I don't think it's correct, though. But I'm passing at this point. Lucky?
Yeah, I mean, they really buried this one down the card because these guys are pretty decent. Now, I know why they did it, because they're both boring, but they're both pretty good. Staman is a better than 500 fighter in the UFC despite some really tough matchmaking over the span of his career. Sterling, Song, Merab, Said Nurmagomedov, coming off a loss to Douglas Da Silva de Andrade, which is, a little bit of a step down, obviously, from those guys, but he can hang with good guys, and Lapilus can do that as well. He had a 3-1 stint in the UFC that ended in 2016, made his way back to the promotion, and he's been 1-1 since that loss for Reed Bashrat. That's a tough fight. And he's getting another wrestler in Cody Staman here, but Staman really doesn't do a lot of wrestling these days. And he doesn't really have big power on the feet that's going to make guys hesitant to get in there. So, you would like to kind of see him bring back that wrestling threat just to keep guys honest on the feet. For me, Lapilus is a little better, a little younger, big reach advantage, but I can't get behind this minus 2XX price here. I mean, I don't think Staman is that far behind him in terms of fighting ability. I think it's a close fight. I think Staman is, though, starting to be on his way out a little bit. The past 2 years we've seen him beat the corpse of Eddie Wineland and Luan Lacerda. Just lost to a 38-year-old De Andrade, who doesn't look 38, granted, but I'm just starting to think the best of Cody Staman is probably in the past, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him beat Lapilus, who I don't think is some kind of a rising star at bantamweight. But I do think that Taylor Lapilus has a little bit more to offer at this juncture. Don't like the price, not going to bet it, but I'm going to pick Taylor Lapilus to win.
Yeah, fair enough. 32 versus 34, so 66 years old combined here at 135. So the future is bright for these two. Speaking of bright futures, the Pusha Tomar, head of the hype train. Just my 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, copy paste, pretty much what Lucky said, like Lapilus, but I want nothing to do with it. Dude, Staman, he's got really fucking good losses, but he just doesn't have a ton of good wins. He's hard to trust to wrestle anymore. So the number is tempting, super juicy. You look at it's dude, he's fought Aljo, he fought all these people, but it's yeah, I think Lapilus is just going to win a decision. Just keep him at range and outpoint him and win the kind of round stealing moments. He's the sharper striker to me, but Staman's a good striker. He's tough, well-rounded, but yeah, Lapilus decision. Pass.
All right. Pass on that, Lou.
All right. Are all you pros done talking about a breakdown on this fight?
Yes, we're done.
Let me tell you the actual way to bet this fight. We're in a live crowd. We've seen that every judging commission outside of Vegas has been absurdly wonky. So don't bet this fight, because a fight that's going to be 15 minutes on the feet, almost assuredly, with a guy with a big reach advantage, it's a big favorite, there's no value. So if you have to bet this fight, here is the way you bet it. You wait till 10 seconds are left in the fight. You take whoever the live dog is, and you put a small bet on that the judges will get it wrong. If Staman closes at plus 1,000 live, $10 on him. If you do that, there's 4 fights in this card you can do that on. If you hit one of them, you're profitable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not breaking down this fight. You guys did that. That's how, if you feel the need to bet it, and the reason I'm saying this that'll make all of you laugh is when I started breaking this down or looked at it initially, I confused Taylor Lapilus with Morgan Charrier, and I'm like, didn't he just fight? He lost a really weird close decision. But
they're very similar.
Virtually identical. But
Mentally,
same
especially.
idea.
Yep,
Chepe
fair enough.
Mariscal was plus 1,500 live right before that fight was done in the exact same style of fight we're getting here. It's literally the exact fight. He was plus 1,500 on the live line when it closed, and he won a split decision.
He's tempting, man. Like, it could get greasy and go to a split for sure.
But why not? I'm saying is like, why not just wait till literally the very end of the fight?
Right.
Dude, $5. Oh,
and
I make that in a week. It's nothing to me.
Right. And to your point, man, like there's some crazy live lines late in the fight where it seems like one dude is just like ridiculously ahead. It's like they're almost telling you, hey, don't cash your fucking parlay out. This dude is a fucking lock. And then all of a sudden it's a split. And like
I mean, do you remember last week for like a brief second they said Nico Price was minus 15,000?
Dude, I thought that was a glitch or like a fucking typo.
And my buddy said to me, he goes, "Is it weird that I think minus 15,000 is value right now?" I'm like, "No, it's value. This is it's a lock, dude. Like but like, why not? If you're gonna play a fight like this, there's plenty of fights in this card that I don't think are going to the judges. Like, so you may as well just play it goofy and like, just instead of complaining about the judges, lean into it, man.
Yeah, I agree. It's a goofy fucking card.
Weird thing.
And actually, I'm sorry I lied. I did make a greasy fucking 4-leg prelim parlay, and fucking guess who was the opening leg? Taylor fucking Lapilus. So I lied. I did not pass. I fucking threw Lapilus in a parlay. So I will be the fucking cautionary tale when it's a greasy split and I'm on the wrong end of it.
No, I mean, I do think I do agree he's the side. It's just, and with it being the bigger octagon as well, that definitely is for Lapilus's advantage here. Yeah, the T-Rex arm's probably not going to pay off here. So move on to the next fight, but minus 270 currently, plus 220, minus 400 on the over 2.5. So they're expecting fireworks in that one for sure. Moving on to 115, I believe Denise Gomes was brought up earlier. Eduarda Mora, the Brazilian who missed weight significantly against poor Cornejo, and then did bad things to Cornejo on the ground there. Overall, like she's looked really good. She's a finisher. She's kind of put everybody away mostly with the grappling in her fights. She's faced a decent level on the Brazilian regional scene. To me, I think that the meme knockouts of Gomes kind of caught up to her, even on the regional scene against like Dudaeva. Like she was losing that fight till she was winning it type of thing. And I just think unless she's absolutely sucked out from the weight cut, then I think that Mora, is going to just be able to dominate, get this fight down to the ground within 50 seconds and probably get it done in the first round by Sumish. But I like Eduarda. I'm kind of confused about the price here. I don't think Gomes is that good. 2 cents. Tell me I'm crazy.
Well, you are crazy, but that's why I love you. Because it masks how fucking insane I am, but not really. That's pretty obvious. Give me fucking dude. One of these prelim chick underdogs is gonna hit, and if it ain't gonna be Puja Tomar, it's by God gonna be fucking Denise Gomes or Gomes or whatever. I mentioned that greasy ass 4-limb fucking Church's chicken parlay. Yeah, well, Gomes is the second leg. Insane. It's striker versus grappler. Mora is certainly the better grappler, but Gomes has fought at like to your point, like she's fought at decent level on the Brazilian regional scene. But I think Gomes is just a little bit more dangerous. If she gets taken down, she's probably going to get fucked up. But if she doesn't, man, I think Mora's going to get knocked out or at least busted up. And yeah, I trust Gomes a little bit more down the stretch as well. Mora's, has only gone to the cards like once. So yeah, give me Gomes here. It's part of my 4-legger. So yeah, I get it. She's the way better grappler, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm surprised. I was expecting this to be one of the few unanimous on the card, but this is that kind of card. So fair enough. I don't understand the line. Lou, do you? agree with 2 cents, or are you more on my side with the Ronda Rousey?
Well, as far as you don't understand the line, it did come in too. So like it's this opened to like bigger number.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strange fight. So I favor Gomes, and I like the 2-3 KO props with her. But one of the big things that I have, so here's my big breakdown, because it's really hard to cap Mora, because yeah, she's fought cans, but she's crushed them.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can't fault her for just going out there and dominate. Like, it's not her fault that she's crushing the people she beat. The Montserrat Ruiz fight was maybe not an awesome look early, but she recovered. The thing here with Gomes is, even the Loma fight, Loma's just like really becoming like a grappler, and Loma dominated her. Like, just anytime she wanted to take Gomes down, she did. Yeah, she's stronger than Loma, and like, so she was able to like kind of scramble and get up, and then Loma just kind of just shoved her back down. The fights that Gomes has won, like the Yaragui fight, the Bruno Brazil fight, there was no grappling. It was just like insta KO.
Mm-hmm.
The fights that aren't insta KO for Gomes, and like, forget about the Angie Hill one, because Angie Hill's like having a nice little resurgence, but also like a veteran who has some decent takedown defense against bums, who has really good striking. Angie Hill's always had like solid striking. So take that. Angie Hill like vet lessened her. So I don't even like really cap that against Gomes here. But any fight where anybody's wanted to initiate grappling against her, they've had success. Mora's going to be bigger. She's also probably going to miss weight. Like, I mean, I can't say it for sure, but like, feels like she doesn't give 2 fucks if she misses by a few pounds here. I feel like she'll be able to get the takedowns. I feel like she's so much more physical. Like the Loma fight, dude, Loma's not physical, and Loma was just having her way. And I feel like Mora is so strong. I don't know what her ceiling is. I really don't. Maybe she's a one-trick pony. But again, this is the trick that's like, it's kind of set up for her to get takedowns. I don't have a problem with anybody doing a live entry on Gomes after one if she survives like being mauled for 5 minutes and you get like a plus 350 or plus 400 price. We really don't know what Mora is going to look like if this fight gets extended and Gomes is hanging in there. But man, it's hard to see Mora not just kind of dominating her on the ground. And like, it's a tricky fight, but I think Mora is the side. Gomes has not shown me to this point that she is physical enough to fend off somebody who will be tenacious on takedowns.
No. If
I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and we'll say.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay to find out, because she's part of the Zhongli. But Lucky, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, decent scrap. It's strawweight here, 2 action fighters. I think Mora's a really good prospect at strawweight. I think Denise Gomes is pretty decent too. Mora's going to have a healthy size advantage in this fight, probably a really healthy one. If she pulls what she pulled on the scale last time, hopefully she can actually make the weight this time. It was a pretty bad miss last time out. I think on the feet, Gomes is going to be dangerous, but I do see Mora being able to get the fight down and kind of do what she does. Gomes hasn't displayed, really great ability to stop opponents from getting her to the ground. And, kind of like you guys alluded to, I feel like that's probably what they're seeing and putting this one together. I think she is decent jiu-jitsu, but obviously I expect Mora to be winning those exchanges. I think Gomes will be tough to get out of there in the first round, but, as it wears on, I expect Mora to keep up the pressure. Gomes has never been subbed before. Maybe Mora could be the first one to do that, but I'm going with Eduardo Mora here. I think she's a pretty decent prospect.
Yeah. No, I'm willing to go down with the ship. We've seen the BJJ players get allergic to strikes before, minus 170, minus 110 on the under 2.5. I'm surprised that it's so low. Might take a little stab at that to cover both sides there, but yeah, should be a good fight. Moving on to the next one, another very good fight, and another very interesting stylistic matchup. It makes this whole card kind of unique in that way. I think they're just very well matched up in terms of making these fights interesting from both sides of the betting angle. John Castaneda, Daniel Marcos here. Won't make a secret of it. I am a big Daniel Marcos fan. I do think that he robbed Davy Grant. The Archie Lang fight obviously ended with the Yam Bags. And before that, had good performances with Brandon Lewis and Oliveira. Really works all the levels very well. He's a very methodical striker. I do think that he can, if he can keep this on the feet, this is going to be the classic, looking like a minus 300 as opposed to a pick'em. If John Castaneda gets the takedowns with ease, I think the line can really flip. But I don't know. I trust Daniel Marcos a little bit more. I think that the last two, have not been the best of performances, but yeah, I think he comes into this one maybe with no more USADA, and we see a new look Daniel Marcos here. But either way, I think on the feet there's just such a wide range. I think he wins more of the moments in the 15 minutes. I think this mostly does go the distance, so I think it could be a 29-28 close fight. So I'll take Marcos by decision. But Castaneda, if he actually goes with the takedowns and sticks with them, it's his best chance to win for sure. 2 cents.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown, and I feel much the same, man. Like I like I like Marcos. I think he wins. I have a weird feeling that the fight is going to be closer than it needs to be, and I do think that Sexy Mexi will be a bit of a wrestling rat and kind of like, maybe take a round or so and make it look close. I wouldn't be totally stunned with a split, but I think Marcos is considerably better striker. I think he's going to have the bigger moments. I think it will go to decision because Castaneda is pretty tough. I have Sexy Mexi has been a dude that I've been a little bit higher on in the past and tried to bet him in some sneaky dog spots before, and it burned me. But yeah, I think Marcos is the better fighter. I worry about like John just getting desperate with the takedowns because he will do that and go for him. But yeah, give me Marcos here, but it's a pass.
All right, Lou, what are your thoughts on this one?
So I'm gonna go against you too, but it's not like strong conviction. I'm on the Castaneda side of the price. I feel like, and I like Daniel Marcos too, man, and I want him to be good. The Simon Oliveira fight, it's almost like I can't cap it here because Simon Oliveira is a one-trick pony that's fucking awful. Davy Grant switches stances a lot. I think he's a more powerful striker than Castaneda, but they switch stances a lot. Castaneda, he's a weird dude to cap because, like, dude, there's times he looks like he could be like a top 5 in the division. Like, he's well-rounded. He's always in shape. He looks like the total package. And then he gets in the cage, and it's like, if I was confident that Marcos was going to rip the body over and over and over again, I'd probably go around 3 KO on Marcos. I still might as a prop. I think Castaneda can wilt. We haven't really seen Marcos tested by like a super aggressive, good grappler. Like Oliveira was just like rushing in like with his head up high, like I'm gonna run you into the cage and like maybe you'll go down. It was weird. What I worry about with Marcos is that the Grant fight wasn't a great look, but the Arichi Lang fight was like way too 50-50 for me. Like he should have gone in and like kicked his ass, and he didn't. And now, did I love 3 ball shots? I should mention that was the fight 2 days after my initial Twitter account got suspended, and I couldn't just relentlessly annoy the fuck out of people on Twitter that everybody's getting kicked. This was like a god was trolling me. That like all these, and Phil Titz scored that day too. It was like, what is happening? Like I can't communicate. It's awful. It was basically Black Friday, except way worse. Nobody had it worse than me. I feel like Castaneda probably wins the first round at a high clip if he's just going for takedowns. Like in the super close round, maybe he has the optics. Yeah, I'm going to lean Castaneda just because he's the dog. These are the tightest margins. I'm never betting this. I know Pepe's got like a bag on Castaneda, and it's not my thing, dude. I think this is just super, super close. The split's not worth it. The over's not worth it. Like, I don't truly see a finish here unless it's Marcos super late, but good fight. I'll lean Castaneda because of the grappling upside, because we just really haven't seen Marcos have to fend. Like, if he gets taken down and he can't get up, it's going to be a long night for him, but super good fight. Happy to sit this one out betting wise and just watch it.
Fair enough. Lucky.
Very solid fight here. I think this honestly could have made the main card, in my opinion. I think both these guys are pretty good. And both have been pretty productive in the UFC lately. Castaneda's 4-1 over the last 5. Marcos is an undefeated guy out of Peru, 2-0 with a no contest in the UFC. And, that no contest was a fight he was clearly on his way to winning. Not, by the rule book cleanly, we'll say, but, he's better than Richie Lang. I think in a pure striking fight here, I give Marcos a slight edge. Castaneda has solid boxing as well, and obviously has the ability to mix some grappling, and it's been working for him lately. I think Marcos, I think he's going to be able to keep this fight primarily standing. I think Castaneda is going to be maybe a half step behind in the striking. I don't know if he has quite enough proficiency in the grappling to make this a wrestling match for 3 rounds. I know there's a good amount of support coming in on the Castaneda side, but I'm going to pick Daniel Marcos to win this one.
Yeah, man. I'm on the Marcos side as well. I caught him at -105. He's now at a -120. So a lot of people on Castaneda. The line is going the other way. So I'll take that in this spot and take it as a sign that I know what's going on and I am sharp. But if it wasn't, I would just know better also. So it doesn't really matter is what I'm trying to say. Next up, a fight where, honestly, my pick doesn't really matter. I'm not very confident in either side here. This is a fade on Montana De La Rosa and her new boobs, or now kind of old boobs. But like either way, I kind of
be careful.
In general, fade breast implant fighters, male or female. I just don't really tend to side with them. And both of these fighters are on really long losing streaks. I'm going to take the one on a 4-fight losing streak. What could go wrong here? They fought before. They're fighting again. Give me Andrea Lee. And if you're betting her at 155, you have sickness. Lou, you have sickness. Are you down with the sickness?
No, I mean, I'm not betting this. But if I had to bet, and it doesn't matter who I think is going to win. I mean, this is literally whoever the plus money is for the sake of super close margins. I feel like Montana De La Rosa is one of these fighters where, like, every time she fights on Fight Week, people are like, her takedowns are so good. Like, she's fucking Khabib, dude. And, like, she's not. Like, she can land some takedowns. Her striking's whatever. Andrea Lee's, it's all right. I thought, like, you're talking about her losing streak, but, like, if you want to, like, talk about their last performances, like their last 4 or 5 performances, the Macy Barber loss, which I thought Andrea Lee won the fight, is the best result out of all these fights. Like, she was reversing Macy on the ground. Is Macy Barber a better wrestler than De La Rosa? Probably, dude. Like, and she's way more physical. And Andrea Lee was able to, like, do a lot of whizzers. She got reversed a couple of times, but, like, I mean, what is this fight compared to that one? Is De La Rosa, like, going to top timer for 8 minutes? Probably not.
She wrestled on her high school wrestling team, so don't forget that. They'll remind you.
But I mean, Macy Barber, who I think is super physical and was, like, landing takedowns, Andrea Lee was able to get a way more physical person off her and negate her. And Macy Barber is better on the feet than De La Rosa. I don't think that's really debatable. And Andrea Lee was able to kind of withstand that style. I feel like that style is that fight is super apt for how this should play out. I think Andrea Lee wins, But again, if you're going to bet, if for a betting perspective, if you're going to bet a fight like this, where it's going to be super, super tight margins, and it's going to be in a state where it's live and it's not a usual commission, what are they judging? Like, if De La Rosa gets like 3, are they doing effective grappling as a criteria? I know they're not supposed to, but like, what if De La Rosa gets her against the cage for 3 minutes, gets a takedown, doesn't do much with it, Andrea Lee lands like 10 shots? Like, how do they judge that?
Happen.
I never want the favorite in a fight like that, just betting wise. So I'm gonna say Andrea Lee kind of negates everything De La Rosa is gonna do, but I can't take anybody in this fight at favorite odds. I would always take the dog just from a betting perspective.
All right, fair enough. Noah, I'll get back to you with an answer, but I'm leaning Noah and Montana over JP and Cheyenne. Lucky, what's your thoughts on this banger of an Invicta card matchup?
Yeah, this is a super hype rematch. A lot of hype coming in here. Everybody's looking forward to it. No, I'm just kidding. Here in 2024, both of these fighters are bad. Andrea Lee won the original fight. I favor her to win this one as well. She is 2-7 here in her last 9, so not like I'm running to the window. She's lost 4 times in a row. De La Rosa lost 3 times in a row.
Oh.
I mean, beating Lipsky and a draw with Mayra Buena Silva actually have aged pretty well, to be fair. But I don't really know if she's even as good as she was then, and not because she's too old or anything. I just haven't seen much improvement out of her at all, fight to fight. And if she is a finished product, she has a number of deficiencies. So I think Lee is a little better. Hopefully this isn't coming off as any type of an emphatic endorsement of Andrea Lee, because it's anything but that. I mean, the only reason I'm talking about this fight is because I'm on the show and I have to. And Aaron threatened me before the show and said I had to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't be less interested in any aspect of this fight. Betting, watching. Just really hard for me to care about this one, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I guess give me Andrea Lee.
All right, that sounds like an emphatic Andrea Lee at -155. That's crazy. All right, 2 cents. Do we get that coin finally tonight?
Gentlemen, excellent breakdown from all you. Couldn't have said it better myself, so I will not. This is gonna be my analysis and my breakdown. Heads is Andrea Lee. Coins is Montana De La Rosa. Old long back. Shout out to the 20 people in the building. Smash the like button. The coin will speak. Ooh, that was a good flip too. It is heads. Andrea Lee is what the coin spoke. It spake, and that's what it will be. That's my pick, Andrea Lee.
All right, Andrea Lee -155. It is. Plus 130 to Montana, -410 to the over 2.5. That's going to be fun. 15 minutes, go get a new refreshment, go spend time with your family, whatever you need to do. Don't watch that fight because you don't want to miss the bantamweight. Is this return? Is this debut of Jesse Butler taking on Brad Katona? Because why not? Brad Katona, once again, fumbling against Garrett Armfield in his re-debut to the UFC there. Just not really having a whole lot of killer instinct there, and kind of, having some trouble, particularly on the feet. And Jesse Butler, I don't think gives him those same types of problems. Brad Katona is better just about everywhere. I don't think Jesse Butler is going to make weight either. And Brad Katona would be my pick. I'm never betting him in any situation here, and I hope it ends very early. Lucky.
Yeah, I think Butler is one of the very worst fighters in the UFC. And add to that fact, I have no idea what he's doing at 135 here. I don't think that's going to benefit him really. He'll be bigger than Katona. I don't think I can give him any other advantage than that. And I mean, everybody's got a reach advantage on Katona. Puja Tomar might have a reach advantage on Brad Katona, man. Like when I saw this fight with no odds, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll parlay up Brad Katona. But he's -600. So now I have to pass. I just really don't see how Butler wins this one. It's Katona all day for me here. I think this is one of the most favorable matchups he's had in years, honestly. I mean, I think he's had tougher fights on his regional shows. I just think there's a large discrepancy in the ability between these two fighters. And, I think Katona is located on the upper bound of that divide. So, yeah, give me Brad Katona. Never betting him at minus 600, but he should win without too much difficulty, I think.
Yeah. 2 cents. You got a hot take on Mr. Butler?
I mean, give me a little fucking credit. I know I'm ridiculous and, can be considered the lowest common denominator in a lot of respects, but there is absolutely no fucking way that I would bet on a Jesse fucking Butler. Yeah, it's Brad Katona season. I did parlay Brad Katona along with the boys on the locker room talk the other day. So, yeah, again, this could be cautionary tale time, but it feels like one of the safer plays, even though the money line is indeed prohibitive. But yeah, I think he wins. I think for some reason, dude, they love them some Brad Katona. They literally let the dude win tough, get bounced out, then recycled back through in tough again. And so I think they're kind of giving him, okay, Brad, you can get this one done. Can't you, Brad? Right? So it's like, yeah, I'm with Lucky. It's like, what is this like ridiculous random 2 fucking weight class drop? I don't understand that. That seems like maybe a little bit of desperation. I have no fucking idea. But yeah, Katona is the side for sure.
All right. We found someone parlaying Brad Katona.
That's me. And Yep. Just remember, it was me if it goes fucking sideways.
Go on over to locker room talk if you want that kind of parlay, because he's not making the Zhang Li even. But that's okay. We're all built differently with our bets. Lou, Betya, are you betting Brad Katona at minus 700?
I'm like gobsmacked right now, what I just heard. So instead of breaking down this fight, I'm going to use this time to tell you that my plan for UFC 303 is Kayla Harrison versus Bryce Mitchell in a loser must renounce Jesus Christ match. And if you tell me that's not more interesting than this fight, I don't know what to tell you, because that would be an awesome fight. And Bryce Mitchell ain't afraid to crack her. So, that's the fight I want. That's far more intriguing than Brad Katona and Jesse Butler. That's it. Next fight, please. I'm not even giving this fight a pick.
All right. Well, thanks for playing with the rules, Lou. We'll move on to the next fight here.
I take the white guy.
All right. He's got the white guy. Speaking of white guys, we've got a white guy in this next one. Charles Radtke, one of the whitest white guys that we got around. Chuck Buffalo against Carlos Prates, the Nightmare. 18-6. He's been on a little bit of a run. Did struggle in his debut until he didn't against Giles. You can take that to mean what you want. While Radtke obviously took on Mike Mathetha on very short notice and did what he needed to do there, and then knocked out Gilbert Urbina in his last fight. He's a veteran. Also, although he does have less fights, he kind of just fights with that kind of veteran gritty style. 33 versus 30 here. Another one where I do think that the grappling kind of mix-up game of Charles Radtke can really wear on Carlos Prates as the fight goes on. Could be another spot, sure, where Prates is losing till he's winning type of thing, but I don't think that's a great way to go about things. And I do think Charles Radtke is kind of, savvy with his game also. And I think as he takes this one deeper and deeper, could kind of wear on Prates. I've definitely been back and forth on this one, probably more than a lot of fights on the card here. At the end of the day, I don't want much to do with it. It is Charles Radtke would be the side with a bet. I'm passing on this one, but I'll take Radtke to win the decision. But I think he mixes up the grappling at times and kind of wears on Prates as the fight goes. But Prates, I think, could put him away early in the fight as well. But, we'll find out if there was jitters or not in that debut. 2 cents. Thoughts on this one?
I think this is an awesome fight. I think this is probably the best fight on the prelims for me, or the one I'm most excited about. I agree with what you just said. Like, as far as the Chuck Buffalo side, he is a dude that I've tried to fade since he got into the UFC, and he has been a fucking thorn in my side. Say the third time's a charm, boys. So that's what I'm going with. I'm backing Prates here, and I think it will be kind of like what you said. He'll be losing the fight until he wins it. I think it'll look sort of kind of like not exactly like the Justin Montalvo fight, but I think he will maybe like hurt him to the body and kind of like finish him against the fence. But yeah, I agree. If it goes deeper and Prates gets tired, like Radtke won't get tired, and he will work at a good clip. But I can see Prates having the moments and also maybe stopping him too. So yeah, I'm backing Prates here. He's me and Billy are both on him. So he is in a parlay of mine this week. So I am betting him, but I get it, man. Like, Radtke's live, and I think it should be a fight. I'm really looking forward to this one.
All right. Lou, are you with 2 cents and Billy?
God, imagine picking favorites for every fight. How exciting. No. Radtke sub plus 700. Radtke round 3 sub plus 2,800. Dude, I don't know what people see in Prates. Like, he's Muay Thai. This guy has legit no lateral movement. It's back and forth. It's very predictable. And like, are people capping Radtke for this Blood Diamond fight? Yeah, it wasn't great. Short notice flew 30 hours. Yeah, it wasn't great. Then he fought Urbina, who is, I mean, not like Gilbert Urbina is some like legendary guy, but far better than Blood Diamond. Urbina couldn't land a fucking punch on him, couldn't do anything. And Radtke just picked his shots. I think he landed like a 60% clip. Everything he threw was landing. Prates' striking defense is terrible. He lost every second of the fight to Officer Giles until he bonked him, which is like literally how Officer Giles fights. This line's backwards. Like, I love Radtke here. I think this line is criminal. I think, and if you're playing Prates in a parlay, it's weird. You have to play him by finish. Because I don't know what a Prates decision looks like. He's not going to like win minutes for 15 minutes. Like, he's going to bonk Radtke or he's not. And if he doesn't, what does the fight look like? Radtke threw more volume, maybe got some cage control, maybe got a takedown in there. Dude, his CFFC stuff, the guy's getting takedowns. He has grappling. I almost feel like he just doesn't want to prove a point. If Prates hurts him, don't be surprised if he shoots and takes this guy down and just backpacks him. He's capable of doing it. I think Radtke's pretty well-rounded, man. I like him a lot. I'm higher on him than most. It's not just his awesome nickname. Like, Prates KO is how I would think is how you play him. But I think Radtke just crushes this fucking dude. And the round 3 sub for the culture, man.
That would be very, very interesting. And I do like the Radtke side.
He loves when I do it. Sorry, Aaron. Well, it's the big show.
Don't you dare try and take that fucking gimmick. I was doing that to show before you ever fucking were. So nice fucking try.
I'm going back like
I love that. I love that crack about taking dogs when I took Pooja on literally the first fucking fight. And so yeah, nice trying to slide that one in there too.
All right, decorum, everybody. It's a good thing Lucky Locks is between you two. Otherwise, you'd be fucking on screen right now. Lucky, can you feel that sexual tension between my two co-hosts?
Oh yeah, it's all around tonight. This fight though, both of these guys are solid fighters. I think this is a close fight. Radtke comes from CFFC. I hold the belief that it produces the best fighters of any American regional show. I think if you can have success there, you're pretty good. I think he came into the UFC with a very deceiving record. You know, he fought Austin Hubbard in his 3rd ever fight. And then right after that, he fought Chris Gonzalez the fight after that on Bellator. And put together a 4-0 run on CFFC with 3 finishes. Now he's 2-0 in the UFC. Not super high level of competition within the promotion. I think this is his toughest opponent to date. But, you know, Radtke has skills. He's solid. And Prates is coming in with a lot of momentum. He had solid runs in 1FC. LFA got a great KO in Contender Series. Debuted with a KO in the UFC. Wasn't his best performance up until that knockout. I actually picked against him in that fight. This is one that I think he wins, albeit very close. I think it's good matchmaking. I mean, I will say I think the line's completely ridiculous. There's no way I'm playing minus 240 for Prates. I would make this one close to pick 'em, probably have Prates like even money fave. He's a younger guy with more fighting experience. He's bigger. I think he's more dangerous. I definitely could see Iraqi having grappling success here, though. I think that's obviously the path he should pursue, and for that reason, I can't really see why you'd want to eat this chalk on Prates. But I also think that Radtke probably is going to walk into the fire at some point. And in that instance, I got to favor Prates. So yeah, give me Carlos. No bet. Fun fight. Looking forward to it. I think it's close.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. Very interesting fight. Good breakdown. And yeah, we're going to move on to the next fight. Radtke at plus 180, currently minus 218 on the Carlos Prates side. The over 1.5 at minus 145. I don't hate at all, but especially because I'm thinking the Radtke side. But yeah, it should be a good fight. Moving on to the featured prelim, which in a different world, these guys are probably headlining an Apex card because they've both potentially been on runs before, but there's just been some moments where they've gotten a little thrown off. But Ludovic Klein, the Jai Herbert fight, obviously not looking great, but then coming back against Ignacio Bahamondes, and then AJ Cunningham, he did bad things too on short notice. And then Thiago Moises losing to Alvarez the way he did, obviously not great, but very long, different type of opponent. The Benoit Saint Denis fight also got kind of crumbled away in that one. Beating guys like Mel Costa, who I don't rate very highly, Giagos, and then Mitch Ramirez his last time out. Yeah, this is, I think, a fight between two guys who are shorter, smaller guys for sure for the division, but they're going against each other here. So I don't rate Thiago Moises that highly, particularly when he faces anybody who can confidently, I think, keep it on the feet and put some offense together. I think this is a spot where Ludovic Klein, it depends on how he approaches this fight, I think, but I think in general, he's been much more cautious since having his losses. And I think it's made him less entertaining, but a lot better of a fighter. And I just think he's going to just be steady in this one. I think he could even mix in grappling as the fight goes on once he gets Moises more exhausted and stay relatively safe to grind out minutes later on. He's a good minute winner too. And I like this spot at minus 120. I got it early as a straight bet, and I just think Ludovic Klein, a better MMA fighter, and definitely a higher potential for a finish on the feet. Particularly, I think Moises is sub or bust for the most part in this spot. But tell me if I'm wrong or right. I think we're on to Lou.
This is like my favorite fight that I want nothing to do with in a lot of ways, but strangely enough, I think whoever wins is going to end up looking like a massive favorite in hindsight. It's tough with Klein because, I mean, I know he beat Mason Jones, and that was like the fight. I think he was like a massive underdog in that fight. The Herbert fight involved Yambag, so clearly that's like fight of the year. The Bahamondes fight is like really relevant here because Klein dominated a prospect, but he did it in a way that I don't think will work here. But he fought in a style that was super smart, and he's like, I'm not going to engage a dude. My high leg kicks not going to work here. And Klein totally chose another path, and it worked out really well. Moises has better wins. I mean, he beat Alex Fernandez. He beat Bobby Green. I mean, you have to think. I mean, Bobby Green's a better win. Not that I rate Bobby Green super high, but certainly a better win than probably anybody Ludovic Klein's beaten. I don't know. I think Klein's getting comfortable at 155. I think on the feet, Klein certainly, his cardio is good, his striking's better. I mean, I don't know how, for Moises to look like a big favorite here, he has to get grappling going early, get back takes, and Klein can't get up. And I kind of think that Klein's going to be defensively responsible enough where Moises really can't. Maybe he gets him to the cage. Maybe he gets body locks, but I don't think he really dominates Klein on the ground. And I also don't think Moises can do it for 15 minutes. I think maybe 5 minutes of failing it and winning the first round, and Klein just like starts clocking him. Maybe Klein throws in a takedown just to get Moises like arms down. I don't think Klein's worried about going for takedowns here. I don't think Klein wants to play around on the ground with him too long, but mixing in a takedown and at least giving him something to think about is something Klein would do. So I favor Ludovic Klein. I have a bet I do like here as like a fun prop, and that's fight ends in round 3. The one thing they both have in common is I don't love how either one of them really responds to adversity. So this could kind of be like a weird, somebody's compromised late and just wants the door. But I favor Klein. I'll probably play the Klein round 3 KO for shits and giggles. But it's a fun fight. It's really tricky to bet because you could have a Klein bet and like Moises could take his back for the first 5 minutes and you'd be like, God damn it, like it's a terrible bet. Mm-hmm. But I on the feet, it does seem like Klein should far and away be better. So I think he negates the grappling enough to get a win here.
Yep. I have a couple straight bets on close favorites or slight dogs in Marcos and Klein, just similar. I have a feeling, and I went with it, but I totally get the fade or the other side in both those spots. Lucky Locks, what's your thoughts on this fight?
I think this is one of the more outstanding fights on the card. I mean, I don't know why this one's a prelim. I don't have a ton bad to say about either of these guys, which is not going to be the case for a lot of the fighters in the main card. Like, looking at this main card, like I get some of these are like going to be fun matchups because they're going to swing like idiots. But yeah, like a lot of these guys in this main card are just not good. But anyway, back to this one. Moises, pretty solid UFC career so far. He's a great grappler. He's got decently competent stand-up. Really only lost to high-level fighters in the UFC, right? Santini, Alvarez, Makhachev, Magulov, Dariush, and finished the majority of his UFC wins. He submitted Michael Johnson. He has a win over Bobby Green. He's finished all 3 of his last 3 wins. Ludovic Klein, on the other hand, was 5-0 in Octagon, which is a solid promotion that I like. And he's done very well in the UFC. He's 5-2-1. He's undefeated in his last 5 fights, 4-0-1. And I believe that last 5 coincides with his move to lightweight. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure, though. He's definitely the better striker here. He's even been showing off some wrestling lately. I think, it would not be in his best interest to continue that trend in this fight. Moises definitely will have the grappling edge. And if Klein were to pursue that, I think he'd be doing Moises a big favor here. I don't expect him to, though. You would expect Moises to proceed with attempts to make this a grounded skirmish, and I think Klein will be able to keep this fight on the feet for the majority of the time. We saw solid counter wrestling in his fight against Mason Jones, who isn't the best fighter ever, but he's a solid wrestler. And Klein really hasn't shown me that he's a guy who can easily be taken down, and he's looking really strong based on the photos that are coming out ahead of this one. I think Moises probably can get him down once early. I think it's going to be a lot harder to do as the fight wears on. I see Klein, winning the minutes on this feed and having the preponderance of the finishing equity there. So for me, it's Ludovic Klein here. Close fight, high-level contest. I like Klein.
All right. Fair enough. 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, as much as Lou Betya and I have been clashing today, that was a beautiful breakdown. And if you are on the Klein side, that's pretty much the way I see it. Moises is in my greasy prelim 4-legger, but if he doesn't get the takedowns, it's going to go down pretty much exactly like Lou said. So yeah, is it something I feel super confident about? No, it is one where it's striker versus grappler. If Moises does get the takedowns and he does get on top of Klein, I think there is a difference in the pedigree. But the problem is like Moises will absolutely play a jiu-jitsu. So yeah, if Klein decides that he wants to grapple offensively, I think it's a pretty good game plan, and he's the better striker. So yeah, but I like Moises as a little bit of dog money. So he's in that fucking stupid ass parlay of mine. But yeah, I totally get the Klein side, and yeah, if you like him, you're getting a pretty good money line. So this is another one of those like good fights, and kind of like we'll see what we got from both of these dudes.
Well, the Zhongli is really going to be working against you so far this week, then. But
dude, I love that though. Like I really do, because like they're beautiful. It's like a whole hedge spot. It's great.
Yep, I'm glad to help you with the hedge here because that's end of the prelims, and unfortunately, we have to get to this main card. And it's these are probably going to be quicker breakdowns from many of these this main card because this main card is full of circus-ass fights like Puna Soriano and Miguel Baeza at welterweight. And is that correct? Like what?
Yeah, 170.
What is happening?
Puna was too muscular, Aaron. He's like, I'm too strong. I'm too swole. I got to drop down.
I'm sorry, but I'll be honest. This is very candid. I was capping this at 185 and confused why Miguel Baeza decided to gain 15 pounds. Now I'm even more confused. Like, honestly, wow. I don't think Miguel Baeza has proved that he can withstand a gust of wind. And I mean, we've seen what Puna Soriano does to guys who are allergic to the wind, like Dusko Todorovic and others. And I'm going to be very layman here. I hope he gets it done very early because I don't know how he's making 170. This is insane. I had no idea that Puna Soriano ever made it 170? Like ever? No? Okay. Well, someone who knows about this, please talk about the fight. Was it Lucky? Go ahead. I don't know. I have Puna by first round KO.
Yeah, Puna Soriano, I don't think he's good. Baeza, also not the guy, many thought he was either. Soriano, 1-4 in his last 5. He's been finished twice in a row now. And I mean, looking at his upside going forward in the UFC, personally, I'm not really sure that there is much. Baeza also not having a great run of fortune. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He's been KO'd twice in a row. I mean, Andre Fialho KO'd him, that's a terrible, terrible look. And Fialho does have power. It's just like, he really shouldn't be catching you with it. Chaos Williams that's a passable loss. I mean, he actually looked solid in that Chaos fight before getting shadow round. And, he took the Fialho fight 5 months after getting KO'd badly by Williams. So maybe that played a role in him being chin there, but he's taken 2 years off to get red. I normally don't like layoffs, but, this might have been good for him. Puna got finished by Kopilov and then got right back in there within a year, got dropped and submitted by Stolze 6 months ago. I kind of feel like the bad momentum is going to continue to snowball for Soriano here. Baeza, to me, is the better striker, the cleaner boxer. Grappling could be interesting. I mean, Puna has that wrestling background, but I haven't really been colored very impressed with him in that aspect. He certainly hasn't looked fantastic defensively there. And I've never seen Puna, attempt a submission in the UFC. Baeza has a sub to his name. He went for a couple on the Contender Series, was going for a bunch of them in the Williams fight. And Baeza's measurables on his side here as well. It's just really hard to trust either one of these two. It kind of feels like the sun is setting on them both, to be honest with you. But, I mean, I guess I'll pick Miguel Baeza.
Fair enough. I wonder if we're going to have a unanimous pick this whole card because I don't know if we've had one yet besides Brad Katona. 2 cents. What's your thoughts on Puna making it down to 170?
This is another one where who are we saying this is like? How is this dude gonna fucking make weight?
No way.
Butler, like Butler and Puna, like which one is more likely to have just a fucking big old weigh-in gaff here? God, man. Yeah, if this fight even fucking happens, I don't know, man. Puna's so untrustworthy, and everyone seems to be on him. I get it. Like he hits hard, but dude, he is not a smart fighter. Like I think Baeza is a little more technically sound. Puna's probably the stronger wrestler, but I think Baeza has better jits. So it's kind of, I don't know. Puna's dumber, but he's tougher and he hits harder. But I don't know, man. If the coin was applicable to dude fights, I would flip it here. Give me Christ, man. And let me preface it with this. I'm terrible at picking Puna fights, win or lose. So whatever I end up picking here, go the other way if you're a smart man. I'm going to pick Miguel Baeza.
Yes.
Ever so slightly, but it's with no confidence. So Puna backers, you can fucking start licking your chops. So yeah, I got nothing here. I'm actually excited for this. I think it'll be a good fight. I think someone will probably get fucked up. But so. Yeah, I got nothing here.
Yeah, this fight is crazy. I had no
I think
idea.
it fucking happens.
I had no idea Puna was trying to make 170 pounds. Lou.
So if I pick Baeza, it's clean sweep for the panel, right?
No, I picked Puna.
No.
And
Sorry. I ruined it.
I mean, I don't know how you can feel good either way here. It's like, and I looked and like I asked like Olivas because he always knows all this like weird shit. I'm like, so what the fuck's Baeza been doing? Because he had like rescheduled fights and then like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's he been doing? And he's like steroids. I'm like, that's good enough for me, dude. All right, that's the best news I'm gonna hear.
Right on broth hair.
I mean, and then I looked, why is Puna dropping down? And I found, and like I am like really good at Google, and I found nothing.
Yes.
I have no explanation. There's apparently like
I think it's lost itis at middleweight, and so it's like I'm going to cut off a leg.
So the only thing missing from this fight week is somebody telling us what a great wrestling background Puna has that we've never seen. Because I feel like every single time he fights, somebody's like, he's got really good wrestling. And it's like, cool. Have we ever seen it? Has he even
now that
tried
he's
to wrestle?
losing 15 pounds, he should have plenty of gas for it too.
So, okay. Now you know what the trade-off is? Does Puna have power at 170? Or is this the kind of fight where maybe it doesn't matter? Is Baez's chin just kind of dust? I mean, like I like Fight Doesn't Go as like a parlay piece, and these are not my kind of bets historically. But like, dude, if Puna hits Baeza once, probably over.
Yes.
But if Baeza stays out of range, he's gonna fuck Puna up. Dude, Stolze made Puna look like the biggest hoe that ever fought, and it involved body work and then eventually grappling. Baeza can grapple. Like, he's just chosen not to. He's like, he's going to be flashy. It's like Puna with the wrestling. Like, but now Baeza's been away for so long that, like you hope that they're like, all right, look, dude, we got to change up a little bit of the way that you attack these fights stylistically. I'm going to pick Baeza with, like, no confidence. But, I mean, it's either Puna KO or, like, Baeza could get like a sub 2-3. I think Kelly said it in chat. I like that look. Like, even at 170, dude, Puna's a big dude, man. I don't trust Puna's cardio at all. And like, let's see what they look like on the scale. If Puna looks like just the worst, then I'll probably get to a Baeza like finish prop here. Small, but I don't think Puna's. It's crazy that Brandon Allen didn't finish this guy. In the worst fight IQ ever, where Brandon Allen's like, you know, I'm just gonna stand with this guy for 15 minutes. Like, that's why everybody hates Brandon Allen. It's like, dude, why are you fighting the worst fight possible? And then he dominated Puna on the feet. It's like, oh god, like.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know, man. I just can't get to Puna in any bet ever. So I haven't confused him with Maki Pitolo yet, though. So that's something.
Yeah, no, he's the rich man's version of coconut bombs, but
yeah,
that doesn't say a whole lot. And yeah, plus 160 now, minus 192, even money to the over 1.5 and under 1.5. I think if it goes under, it most likely is the Puna side. So, but yeah, I don't want a whole lot to do with this one. And again, I'm kind of embarrassed to know it was at 170. I just assumed 185. So my bad on that one. The main card doesn't get better than this, guys. We got the Cuban Missile Crisis, who last week was drunk at a bar talking about Dustin Poirier being up 3-1, according to his drunken scorecard, tweeting out to the likes of like 7 likes on Twitter. But again, like, I can't take Julian Marquez seriously at all. And Zach Reese got powerbombed by Cody Brundage. But I'm going to count on that not happening again. And if he doesn't get powerbombed there, he's probably locking up that arm and breaking it Kevin Holland style. So whatever, things happen. I don't really know how good Zach Reese is, but I will not miss a moment to fade Julian Marquez until the roster X is next to his name. So Zach Reese plus 120. I bet it right before this show, and it's purely to fade Julian Marquez. I don't care how he gets it done in this fucking fight, but Zach Reese, you have a chance to become one of my new favorite guys. All you got to do is beat Julian fucking Marquez, who just is not good. I don't take him serious. I don't think he takes himself serious. Yeah, get him out of the UFC as fast as possible. I think losing to Zach Reese will help that happen quicker. I don't really, care how he gets it done again. 2 cents.
Day drinking, pickleball, disc golf, bro. So yeah, everything you said is true. I'm gonna pick Marquez though. I think he mongoloids his way to a KO here, but it won't surprise me at all if he fucking tries to do that and then fails, and Zach Reese comes on strong and finishes him. So yeah, I don't hate the Reese dog shot at all. Big old pass. I'll pick Marquez, but yeah, he's a fucking doofus, and it won't fucking hurt my feelings at all if he is expedited from the UFC.
All right, loose ends.
I'm not going to break it down historically. I want to break it down from a betting perspective. If Zach Reese, who has never fought more than 7 minutes in a fight, I think his whole fighting career is 16 minutes. That's okay. I don't know why that had to happen when I was talking. That's weird.
Anyways, once again, my biggest
Imagine Zach Reese with 15 minutes of fighting experience. Fights probably the greatest fighter that's ever existed, Cody Brundage. Loses by slam KO. No shame in that. Dude,
Mhm.
Hogan body slammed Andre. It's the same thing, really. Reese comes off a horrible look. And yet, Aaron, he's only plus 115 here. Right?
Lou, you got a fan.
He's only plus 115 against a guy with far more UFC experience who allegedly has all this durability. Don't you think that line is really, really weird that he's only plus 115 in this spot? Marquez hasn't been around in a while. I feel like he's feeding off this rep of having this legendary durability. Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
People oh man, he's a zombie. He's this and that.
Yeah.
I mean, against fucking Maki Pitolo and Alvi,
Mm-hmm.
G-Rod crushed them, and then Barrialt worked the body and just got him out of there. I'm picking Zach Reese with you, Aaron. But
Yes,
but I have a question since Lucky's next, I'm just gonna set Lucky up with the question. What does round 2 of this fight look like? Is it hilarious? Is it Kimbo versus Dada 3000 in terms of nobody can fucking do anything? What does round 2 of this fight look like?
We don't know anything about Zach Reese. We don't know anything about this guy.
I know what Marquez looked like in round 2 against Barrialt.
Exactly.
We know what
Marquez looks like. We know he was at a bar last week tweeting out that fucking Dustin Poirier was up 3-1. Again, what scorecard? He had to be hammered to have a 3-1 scorecard there. So, great. Zach Reese, I'm gonna bet wasn't at a bar last week. So whatever. This is high level stuff here. Lucky Locks. Go ahead.
Yeah, to answer Lou's question, I think that round 2 obviously will be uncharted territory for Zach Reese if we see it. And if we do see it, I think it's going to be probably unbridled hilarity or a complete disgrace, or maybe a bit of both. Could be a bit of both as well.
Why not
why
both?
the hell? Why is this on the main card? I mean, I know why. I'm not an idiot, but it's
Miley Cyrus is going to be in attendance with her husband.
The UFC is basically we think you guys are so bad, and
I
your
blame
process
Julian Marquez.
is so lacking that we just want you guys to go swing like idiots and basically see what happens. And hopefully the masses, the Julian Marquezes of the world who are drunk at the bars, are going to be entertained by the product thereof. So, yeah, suffice to say, I don't think either of these guys are very good. That said, hopefully it'll be entertaining. Marquez has been knocked out twice in a row now. He's a 500 fighter in the UFC, which honestly, in the grand scheme of things, that's not easy to do. It's not something that we normally laud or extol a fighter for, but within the context of this matchup, like, I think it's important. Like, does Zach Reese look like a guy who could be 500 in the UFC? Maybe. I'm not overly impressed with him. I think this is a pretty good test. I mean, it is really hard to judge Zach Reese because he's only had one fight last longer than 2 minutes, and even that one ended in the first round. Now, the Contender Series, you got a quick armbar, and I know that fight was the apogee of brevity, but I still didn't really like the look of him in there earlier. And the Cody Brundage fight, kind of the same thing, and he paid for it that time. Marquez, on the other hand, pretty inactive. He's 34, drinking. A little bit of hype in 2021. Had some health issues that to pull out of a few fights, but the last 2 times we've seen him, he got KO'd. He's finished all 3 of his UFC wins by sub, which has kind of led to this myth about him being a grappler, I guess, as a result. Like, he's never landed a takedown in the UFC. And we've seen a lot of guys who are really not great grapplers take him down a lot. Like, I mean, he beat Sam Alvey, Patolo, Darren Stewart. I'm not overly affected in any substantial fashion by any of those. I'm not moved by those wins. And also, I haven't seen much to convince me that Zach Reese is much better, if at all, than those guys. But I do think the UFC are kind of trying to throw him a bone and saying, like, here's a guy who's been a bit inactive. He's hittable. I think they're saying, like, if you can't show us something here, like, what are we going to do with you? Why are you here then? Right. I think if he loses, he just gets fed to a big prospect next and then gets given his walking papers. Reese opened -200. Now he's an underdog. I'm inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt at the underdog price. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be paying to find out, but yeah, I'll side with Zach Reese as the dog, I guess. Hopefully this one gives us a couple of laughs.
Do
Can I
we
ask you guys
argue?
a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask the panel a question before we move on? The
Well,
under
we got
1.5 is -155 range. What are your thoughts?
-155. I don't know what the fuck is. I don't know what Zach Reese looks like, dude. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't really want to bet anything other than my fade on Julian Marquez.
I mean, do you think -155 for the under 1.5 is about right? Is it value? Is it bad? Like, what do you think?
If I had to
-155 for the under,
I'd take the over if I had to at plus money there, just because I don't know what the fuck. I don't think Julian Marquez is this wrecking machine in the first round necessarily, and I don't know if Zach Reese is against somebody of any note. So I don't know. I think this could get sloppy and go late.
it feels like a 50-50, like could go under or over. Like if Marquez can bonk him early, then yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's tough, but it's not a terrible line, I guess.
Yeah. Who are you on this one? 2 cents.
Marquez, but just barely. Like I feel like he'll have to kind of like get him early, like or it's Reese late.
Yeah. All right. +120, -140 to Julian Marquez. Yeah, I got it at +120 right before the show, and I'll regret it but whatever. It's all good. Next fight. I think this is a very good fight. I think this is one of the better fights on the main card for sure. Runa Ferreira versus Dustin Stolze. I'm a decent fan of Dustin. I've liked throughout his UFC career. He's a decent to above average grappler for sure. He's tough as well. Runa Ferreira, to me, I think is kind of a bit of a one-dimensional fighter, but the one dimension he does do is very well. Obviously lost to Nursultan. Made the comeback against Phil Hawes. He obviously broke my glass cannon of Gregory Rodriguez as well. Definitely can come in there and knock out Stolze really very quickly. But Stolze, I don't think gets credit for the toughness that he has for whatever reason. And he does kind of do very, very smart things early on in the fight that pay dividends as the fight goes on. And I just think at +210 definitely is. The line doesn't really make a whole lot of sense here to me. I do think that Stolze can kind of expose the grappling of Bruno and his gas tank after the 3 to 4 minute mark of this fight. And I'll take Stolze to get another submission win. I think that maybe we get our 4th or 5th twister in the UFC. He's got a few twisters here. Maybe he gets one on Bruno Ferreira. But yeah, I don't think Stolze is an easy out. I think he might take some shots early, give us some scares, and then come back and get the submission. So is that on 2 cents? I don't really know who I left off on, to be honest. So I'll go with 2 cents.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. It's kind of like the last one stylistically. That is, I think it's Bruno early or Stoltzfus or Stoitzfus, however you pronounce his last name. But yeah, it's an intriguing fight. Like I think Dustin, it's not like he gets knocked out all the time, but when he does get chinned, it is early, and that's kind of feels like Bruno's win condition. So I'm gonna pick the Hulk by knockout, but Stoltzfus is a live dog, and it is a nice line. And if it does go late, you have to favor Dustin, and he probably gets the choke. So yeah, I got nothing here. If I was going to bet anything, it'd be a Hulk KO or nothing, but it feels like dogger pass for the most part.
All right, Lewis.
Oh, I have a bet on this. I have a good bet on this. I have many good bets. It is Stoltzfus season. Bruno Ferreira is a bum. He's terrible. Everybody's, Stoltzfus is terrible. If Stoltzfus just gets him against the cage for like a minute, his cardio is done. So I have not just the money line that I like on Stoltzfus, Aaron, but I'm going to raise you. So round 2, round 3 sub on FanDuel is plus 1,200 for Stoltzfus. I feel like that's a solid number. But the bet I already put in on Parks was Stoltzfus and over 1.5 is plus 440. I feel like if this fight goes over 1.5, Stoltzfus wins like 98% of the time. If Stoltzfus win correlates really well with the over, and you're going to give me plus 210, like correlated into plus 440, I am here for it. This and the co-main event bets that I have were the first 2 I like this week. I haven't deviated off these reads. I think Stoltzfus kind of weathers the storm. I think Ferreira is limited, but I think Stoltzfus, like in the grappling realm too, and his chin's not historically been the problem. It's getting I mean, look, I get that Abu's like, that loss is going to end up like being, I mean, it's never great to lose in 20 seconds. But I think losing to him might end up being okay down the stretch. I think Ferreira is a bum, man. And I think Stoltzfus is at least vet savvy enough to just kind of stay out of his range. And if this thing, it doesn't have to get out of the first. If this thing gets out of 3 minutes, you have to like Stoltzfus a lot here. So he's going to be one of these dudes, by the way, fighting at like 48. And you're going to be like, holy shit, this is his 21st fight in the UFC. Like, how? How did this happen? And he's going to kind of be like, all right enough to just hang in there. Hey, man, he was beating Mearshart. Dwight Grant? Dwight Grant's terrible.
Sure.
But like, he's not being, aside from like the quick knockout, he's not being like, is he uncompetitive in these fights? He's been competitive in these fights. Like, he's not as bad as, he's terrible. He's not terrible. He's okay. He's better. He's not limited like Ferreira. He's not like a round 1 merchant. Like, I think he's got talent enough. And more importantly, he's not going to be like, cool, let's just swing bombs round 1. Because that's the kind of guy that, like, why did Pereira beat G-Rod? Because he's like, okay, cool. Because what did Rodriguez do that he does every fight? I'm just not going to grapple.
I know.
He just beat a dude like that in Puna that's a similar stylistic matchup, like a big dude that chucks bombs. So he can beat a guy, like he can weather a storm like that potentially.
And Puna was dead after 5 minutes. Was done. He was totally done.
Right.
Yeah. I like Dustin over 1.5. I don't mind that at all. Locks, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Stolze was not really a guy I'm that big on. I mean, I agree. Like, he doesn't suck. He's okay. That's kind of how I feel about him too. I mean, he's 2-3 over his last 5, 2-4 in the UFC. Out of those 4 losses, have been finished inside the distance 3 out of the 4 times. We beat Punahele Soriano, who I just talked about. I don't think he's good. It was a great performance there for Stolze, though, to be fair to him. We've seen, Abus knock him out in 19 seconds. We've seen him get KO'd very quickly in kickboxing as well. He's a skilled grappler. I do feel like the striking, leaves a little bit to be desired there. I think Bruno Ferreira is the type of guy who could box him up early. Wins over Phil Hawes and G-Rod definitely a little more inspiring to me than Puna and Dwight Grant. Stolze definitely could have some success here if the fight goes longer. I agree. The over definitely correlated with the Stolze win, and he has the measurables on his side as well. Bruno Ferreira, I don't know if this is really the right weight class for him, honestly, but in this one, he's just a little too explosive, a little too savage for me to pick Dustin Stolze to beat him. Ferreira, I think, has the makings of somebody who could be somebody in the UFC. Not a champion, not a great contender, but I'm just not seeing that same thing out of Dustin Stolze, in my opinion. So Ferreira definitely can't go out there and just chase the knockout, because I don't think Stolze is just gonna, go in with an empty brain and just swing bombs with them. But I think if Ferreira is a little bit patient and dialed in, he can find that shot.
Yep, fair enough. The over 1.5 had even money right now. Minus 260 to Ferreira, plus 210 on the Stolze side. Moving on to the third from the top. And it's another striker. It's another grappler. Rosas Jr. making his return from a very impressive KO of Terrence Mitchell almost 8 months ago. Taking on Ricky Turcios, who came off a very impressive split decision of Kevin Natividad after getting clinic put on him by Ayman Zahavi, who, we're an Ayman Zahavi channel, so we're not going to hate on him at all. But honestly, Raul Rosas, I have trouble seeing him have, struggled to get the takedowns in this spot against Ricky Turcios. And Ricky Turcios, to me, I get it. In his 2 fights, he's gotten taken down and he's won. So, yes, there's that chance that he's able to start stuffing them, get up and tire out Rosas. And congratulations if you have the Turcios side, but I just think this is a very favorable matchup for Raul Rosas to kind of get in there, rinse and repeat, and hopefully get a choke finish early, just because I don't want to see these guys fight for 15 minutes. But honestly, I don't rate Ricky Turcios all that highly. I don't think he has much of a chance if this doesn't stay on the feet pretty much exclusively. So, yeah, I'll take Raul Rosas by decision, but not super confident about it. Lou, are you back? Yes. Hola.
So I spoke to Raul Rosas this week about his fight, and he had the following to say to me, Aaron.
It's poor taste.
Yeah.
All the way around with the sombrero on, even. You have any other thoughts on this fight, Chichi?
Rosas, if you can somehow same game parlay on DraftKings, one first round takedown, you got to think Rosas is getting at least one takedown in the first round. If you can parlay that with anything over 1 round and get any kind of value, I'd play that over Rosas or Turcios here. We still haven't seen if Rosas can really have the cardio to grapple for 3 rounds. And I don't trust Turcios to throw the necessary 80 to 90 strikes in the 3rd round to get Rosas out of there 10-8. I think what I'll add is this. I think we're now seeing that C-Rod's really good and his cardio is good. And more importantly, C-Rod knows how to win fights late and actually win optics. I'm not convinced Turcios. He's just such a space cadet that I'm not he could know he's down 2-0 and just be throwing these blind, weird kicks that come 10 feet from Rosas when he's just standing there as a stationary target. He can't be trusted. I get that he has more experience. He's not great on the ground. And then that's it. So I like Rosas' decision. I think at least Turcios probably hangs in there for I don't think Turcios gets subbed in the first 5 minutes. And I think that's maybe where Rosas is at in terms of finishes at this point.
Yeah, totally fair. Lucky.
Bro, this chat is
This guy's destroying.
posting. So yeah, I'll try to keep my composure here, man. I'm not high on Ricky Turcios. You know, he has good striking up, but interesting vocalizations. I guess you could say both of these guys have interesting vocalizations.
Yes.
One of them at the press conference, one of them during the fight. But you know, we know why this match was made, though, don't we? Like, we know, right? We're smart guys. Kevin Natividad took Turcios down 7 times. Brady Heaston took him down 6 times. I mean, funnily enough, Rosas won both of those fights. But I mean, listen, if Kevin Natividad can get you down 7 times, Rosas Jr. can get you down, man. I mean, I think the path to victory for Rosas is obvious. He's a much better grappler than Natividad is. And Turcios, yeah, he's tricky down there. He can get reversal. He's not completely helpless, but Rosas Jr. is on a different level. I don't really see him getting reversed very often by Turcios. Obviously, if Rosas can't hold him down, this fight could get hairy, but I think he'll be able to do it. And I mean, Turcios' striking is really not especially threatening in my eyes. Rosas' gas tank, you know, definitely something to keep an eye on. And Turcios has a good engine, conversely, but there's a clear path to victory for Rosas here. You know, it makes sense that he's a decent favorite. Turcios isn't a guy I see making a deep run in the UFC. He doesn't really do any one thing well enough for me. Rosas has elite skill in one area and lots of potential to develop and make rapid improvements in others. So, yeah, it's Raul Rosas Jr. for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I pretty much agree there. 2 cents. Got a hot take here for us.
Absolutely not. Let me make it a clean sweep of slandering, just like dragging Rosas Jr. through the mud and then picking him to fucking win. So yeah, I love the cultural appropriation and yeah, genetic mutation by something decision, maybe submission for this. But yeah, I think he'll be the bigger grappler. You know, he may not even have his man strength yet, but I think he will be improving fight to fight. He's fucking what, 19 something.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of crazy. And yeah, I think like y'all mentioned it, man. Turcios is kind of a space case. So yeah, let me get Raul Rosas about something. And he is anchoring he's anchoring my parlay for the pub podcast this week. So I really need him to get it done, but I think he does.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised it's at minus 225, but I'll jump on it as well. And yeah, unanimous decision.
Aaron, it's gross that that's the one we all agreed on.
I mean, it is.
It's gross that that's the first one we all agreed on.
It is. Well, Brad Katona. So our Brad Katona, Raul Rosa rivaling the pub sports parlay.
John Lee's going to be rich.
That's gonna be the base of a lot of parlays. I think that's gonna be
that might be the base for sick people. But either way, we're on to the co-main event here between Dom Reyes, that guy who that one time almost beat John Jones and then proceeded to have a pretty bad outpouring of losses after that, taking on Dustin Hanyak, the Hanyak, 19-8. Did you know that he used to fight in Glory? He didn't do well in Glory, but he was over in Glory, so he's a Glory kickboxer forever. Yeah, this fight it's a weird one. Combined age is 70 between these two guys. You know, a lot of people seem to think Dustin is, you know, a destroyer. And, you know, I've talked about this with Lou. I get the down young. I get the Kenny and Juku. And I get that Reyes hasn't seen a punch he doesn't like in quite a while now. I mean, John Jones and then the Jan fight, the Jerry fight, and then he came back against Ryan Spann and took like 7 straight rights before he went down. So Dustin probably could come in here, punch him once or twice, and then put him out of there. And then we're like, why did this happen? Why was this a co-main event? What is going on here? Yes, I admit all that's true. I also admit that we're in a very desperate situation for Dom Reyes here. And this is like not just a couple steps down. You know, I guess Ryan Spann is a similar step, but I don't think Dustin's this destroyer. So the way I'm approaching this is I'm gambling. I went with the over 2.5 in this spot at plus 150 yesterday with Lou's encouragement. And I don't take most people's encouragement. Usually that's discouragement from me, but certain people I do respect with certain takes. And I had a kind of a similar read on this before talking to Lou. But today, that over 2.5 plus 110. I moved the line, guys. I'm sorry. Lou and I moved the line here. It's gone.
Gambus-esque.
It's absolutely amazing. I called Jewish Better and I asked him how he does it, and he gave me the secret sauce for one time here. Reyes, meanwhile, I bet at plus 170. My bad. He's plus 190 now. Whoops. Shouldn't have bet him at either spot, probably. But, this is going over 2.5, in my opinion. Probably a greasy split decision to Dustin, but I'm not betting it anyways. So come on, let's go over 2.5. 2 cents.
Yeah, I thought I heard that whale breach out there. That's. I thought I heard that.
Call me Willie.
I'm getting a little older, but the hearing hasn't gone completely. So yeah, man, it's weird. I actually think it ends in one of two ways. I think if anyone wins a decision, it is Reyes, and I think he's a super duper live dog, and I think he might fight kind of scary and safe, and he does probably have more power, but his chin has obviously been starting to go, and Jacoby has been flashing some power recently, so that won't. I feel like it's Jacoby knockout or Reyes decision, but I don't feel too strongly about it, so I'll be rooting for you. But yeah, I got nothing here.
Give me 15 minutes of this combined 70-year-old light heavyweight fight, Lou.
I mean, you said it. I can't say it better than you. Like, this was, I think, the first thing we talked about, like, on Sunday.
Yep.
Like, is this number's crazy. I'll say to the viewing audience, I mean, Jacoby, like, he doesn't look great. Maybe he's a little washed, but his chin's always been, like, pretty good. And I don't know that Reyes is the guy to, like, really test it. I don't think Jacoby's getting knocked out on one shot. I think maybe, like, attritional, like, what's the guy? The professional almost, like, got him out of there. Like, and then, so if you're betting the over, you're fading. Honestly, I feel like you're just fading Jacoby round one because he's not huge volume, and all of Jacoby's finishes have come like instant swarm. If Reyes can just either stay out of range or weather it, I think Jacoby's happy to be a low volume guy the whole fight. And Jacoby decision probably covers a lot of your outcomes here. I honestly think Jacoby KO decision covers like 95% of what happens in this fight, but that's not fun. And you're also probably not getting a real deal on his money line. So, like, I don't like that. I like the over, and I want to just root for Reyes here. Jacoby, man, he's kind of like a pasty asshole, and I just don't want to root for him. And, like, the Menafield fight's a perfect example of, like, everything he threw, he landed. He just didn't want to throw.
It happens a lot
Like,
with him, too.
I feel like if Reyes can land 1 or 2 shots in the first round and get some respect, I think Jacoby's going to just completely be like, okay, I'm going to throw leg kicks the whole fight. I honestly do. And he'd probably be all right doing it. And then he'll be like, I can't believe I lost a 29-28 decision. I can believe it. You didn't do shit. So I love the over here. I love the decision. Maybe a split decision's kind of interesting here. I don't know, man. Again, not Vegas. No grappling. There's not going to be any grappling in this.
None.
If it's a low volume striking fight, why not take the split? It's going to be priced. I'll look it up while you guys are doing whatever. But with the over being plus money, I mean, this has got to be like a pretty good, right?
Right. I was going to say, what's Reyes by split? That's probably pretty tasty.
I got it up right now. Fight to be won by split is plus 650.
It's not bad.
So, I mean, I like that. And then Reyes is plus 1,400 and Jacoby's plus 900. I think those are good numbers. If you like the over, I don't see a 30-27 here either. I think this is, again, Jacoby's not landing. He's not throwing 150, 200 strikes in this fight. So might be worth the poke.
Yeah. Lucky, what's your thoughts on the co-main here?
Yeah, there's not a lot of love left for the Dominator anymore, huh? I mean, I can't say I'm super surprised at that sentiment, given he's lost 4 in a row. He's been knocked out 3 in a row. The last one being a Ryan Spann jab. But I mean, you look at his last 5 and see, okay, KO win over Chris Weidman in like 2019. All right. Decision loss to John Jones that a lot of people thought he won. Nothing wrong with that. That's a positive. Blachowicz and Prohashka knock him out. Okay, both of them went on to become champions in the division. Ryan Spann with a jab kind of takes the air out of your sails a little bit. And I mean, you can give a bit of an excuse for the other ones, but it kind of just paints, that result just paints a dark shadow over the entire portrait. But Spann hits hard and he can get guys on his good days. I do have to wonder though, like if Dustin Jacoby is really a guy you want to be backing at minus 2xx. I mean, Reyes was minus 200 against Spann. Like, what do we think Jacoby would be there? Reyes was near pick him with Yuri. He was minus 235 against Blachowicz. What are we making Jacoby in those fights? And that's not to say those lines were completely correct and like should be taken as gospel, but just something to keep in mind that there's been a major flip in the market sentiment around Dominic Reyes after the last fight, and people were overwhelmingly picking him to win against Jan and against Ryan Spann, and now they're overwhelmingly picking him to lose to Dustin Jacoby. And I'm a big fan of Jacoby. I've cashed a lot of tickets on him, but this just seems like they've overcorrected here. I mean, Jacoby's best win is who? Like Max Christian? Is it Oleg Shaychuk? Is it Down Jung? Like Jacoby just lost a decision to Alonzo Menefield, and there's a good chance Reyes is completely shot. I mean, I will point out he's actually the younger guy here. Obviously needed to take some time off, get his body right, get his mind right, and he's taken that time. I just think people are too low on him. In my honest opinion, Reyes around plus 200 is the side. I mean, Jacoby has a losing record over his last 5 fights as well, and he lost to worse fighters than Reyes did. He beat 2 worse fighters than the guy Reyes beat most recently. And if Jacoby fought Reyes' schedule at the time that he fought them, going back, let's say 8 fights, like I think there's a good chance he's like 1-7 or 0-8 over that span. So maybe Reyes really is done. But like if you're playing Jacoby minus 2 whatever, like you better hope that he is, because I don't know. It's hard for me to think that Jacoby's going to cover that number.
Yeah, I think that's really well put. It's why I like them at plus 170, plus 190. I mean, plus 200. I completely agree. And then again, I have to over 2.5 at plus 150 as well. So got a lot of interest in this co-main event. As of right now, yeah, I believe he's plus 190 as of my last check. And yeah, I don't agree. And I do think it's an overcorrection. So a little bit of a weird spot there. Minus 230 to Dustin. Good luck if you're parlaying Dustin here. Main event time. Very interesting middleweight 5-round fight here. Obviously between Jared Cannonier and Nassourdine Imavov. Cannonier, has had, a weird long career starting at heavyweight. Now 40 years old for the Alaska product, fighting the 28-year-old Nassourdine Imavov. Nassourdine definitely kind of slows as the fight goes. We've seen on a few occasions, though, including even in, his last fight against Roman Dolidze. I don't think it was a majority decision at all, but it is what it is. But, does kind of fade. And, with Cannonier, I mean, his last fight against Vettori, obviously very, very impressive with the volume. That was over a year ago. He's had some injuries since then. He's older. So there are a lot of concerns there. But, I mean, Cannonier is just he's kind of a freak. So I do think he's one of these guys in the middleweight division who could win into his 40s. I think the leg kicks could, if he's able to throw those with some consistency coming off the injury, be a big key. The volume early on, I mean, that like the second round, I think he landed like 65 significant strikes against Vettori in that fight. I mean, he just puts on a really good pace. And I'm just not a big Imavov guy. I don't think that if he's fought the level that Jared Cannonier's fought, that he's 4-5 in his last 5 for sure. And, I mean, keeping a good volume, a good pace against Strickland, possibly, being willing to mix in, some clinch and some takedowns. And I do think he has the better gas tank of the two, even at 40 over Imavov. But, yeah, I got Cannonier. I took a shot at him at plus 110. I think he's got Finishing potential, I also think he could be the more busy guy, has more experience in 5 rounds, 40 and coming off an injury, though. So plenty of reasons to fade him as well, and I get it. But I got Cannonier at plus 110. Lou.
I mean, you just broke down a couple of the reasons I'm hesitant to get on the Cannonier side. I'm never betting Imavov here. I, like you, I'm not super impressed. Not going to name names. Somebody decided they think that Imavov can out-grapple Cannonier easily and submit him. I will say that I don't see that ever here. I don't think Imavov wants to fight like that. I know he's got takedowns in his back pocket, but you watch the way Imavov fights. It's like he uses takedowns as a deterrent just to get people to lower their hands, which is smart. But Imavov, I don't think his cardio is great, and he's not really interested in having like 4 or 5 minutes of control on the ground. That's just not what he wants.
No.
And I don't know that he's the stronger guy here. Now, like the MCL injury for Cannonier, the being 40, and look, it's post USADA, so he's like 28. Like I get it, but it's a lot of red flags on the Cannonier side. But the strength of schedule is 1,000,000% better. How he's looked during 5 rounds has been much better. Common opponents, like Strickland was off the couch fighting Imavov on like nothing notice. And Cannonier, like, look, I thought Strickland won the Cannonier fight, but it was certainly more competitive, I thought, than the Imavov fight. It's another fight where, like, I mean, and if there's going to be any optics here, you'd think it's from the Cannonier side. To me, this is a good fight for a live entry after 1. I want to see what his leg looks like. I also think that, well, I don't want to say Imavov's completely front-loaded here, because I don't believe that. But I think that Imavov's best rounds will be early, and I just want to see how Cannonier responds. Look, that Vettori fight that Cannonier had, I don't think he didn't win the first round. He just kind of like waited him out, and then he could not miss. Now, I don't think that Imavov's not going to be a stationary target like my man Vettori was.
Right. Yeah, he had like
Cannonier was fine. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Cannonier had like 170 strikes by the end of the 3rd round.
But he was cool easing into the fight too. Cannonier knows, dude, he's a vet. He knows he's got 5 rounds, and you got to take advantage as a gambler. So for me, I'd rather wait for a round. Imavov finishing Cannonier in the first round is like less than 1%. So I don't think it. Look, and if Cannonier wins the first round here, I don't necessarily think you'll even get a horrible number unless he like knocks him down. Like you'll probably still be able to get Cannonier at like minus 150. So I don't think it's bad to wait it out. If I get minus 150 and you got plus 110 or 20, that's okay. Like, because I think if Cannonier wins the first round, that minus 150 might look like minus 700 at that point. So like, I'm cool with it. I like Cannonier to win. I think a live entry is going to be my preferred play. Yeah, I'm not a big Imavov guy, dude. I'm not. Like, I don't get it.
No. I agree. Lucky, what are your thoughts on this main event?
Yeah, good fight. For all intents and purposes, both these guys are 4-1 in their last 5. You know, that Imavov-Curtis fight was a no contest, but let's be real, Imavov was winning that fight. Cannonier definitely had the tougher schedule, definitely had the more impressive wins. These two had a mutual opponent during the segment, Sean Strickland. Cannonier fought and won a tooth-and-nail decision. Imavov got cooked, basically, in my opinion. He got Stricklanded. It was a 4-1 fight on my card, and Strickland was coming off the couch, having just fought Jared Cannonier 5 for 5 rounds, like 2 weeks before that or something like that. And like, you know, since that fight, Imavov has put on 2 impressive performances over ranked opponents. You know, Chris Curtis fight, like I said, that was obviously going to be an Imavov win. Curtis had nothing for him on the feet or in the grappling. And Imavov put on a solid 5-round display against Roman Dolidze after that. Cannonier also coming off a very sumptuous exhibition against Marvin Vettori, where he really demonstrated the levels between them. And Cannonier, like, is without a doubt one of the best fighters at the top of the middleweight division. Nobody except for Whitaker and Adesanya at the height of their powers have been able to get the best of him, and he also had to contend with a broken arm in that Whitaker fight. You know, Cannonier's a powerful guy, a durable guy, capable fighter. Imavov is a guy who people are hailing as one of the next top guys at 185, and for me, he's proven that he's among the top 10 for sure. I could see him beating, we'll say roughly 50% of the guys in there. He has yet to prove to me that he's in that top 5 group. Like what Strickland was able to do to him, Strickland was not able to do to Cannonier. Those vicious elbows we saw Cannonier drop on Brunson's head, we haven't seen that type of explosive finishing ability out of Imavov. Now, granted, Imavov's like 12 years younger than Cannonier is. That definitely needs to be factored in. Cannonier is, he's a 40-year-old man. That drop-off is coming, that decline is coming, and it'll probably be swift when it comes. But I'm going to need to see it before I play Imavov at a chalk number here. I'm just not seeing that clear path by which Imavov can proceed to look like the favorite in this fight. I'm not sure I see him grappling his way to a victory here. I'm not sure he's really the better striker. I mean, he's got all the potential to be making the improvements. He's got the youth factor, but I don't feel like I've seen the evidence for betting him as a favorite in this fight. Like when I watch Imavov, I'm not seeing this monster or prospect that everyone else is seeing. Like he kind of gets talked about like he's like 16-1 or 17-0. Like he's 13-4. I mean, I think Cannonier has to be the favorite in the spot pre-flop for me at least. I haven't bet it yet. I haven't bet anything yet here on this card. Cannonier and Reyes are kind of the sides that I'm watching. I think Cannonier's the better side of this fight as the underdog.
Yeah, I agree. Well said. 2 cents. Bring us home.
Lot of sharp minds on Cannonier. I'm kind of with Lou about the concerns with both the age and the knee. And like Lucky kind of alluded to it as well, like at some point he is going to look his age again. And he is a pretty tough dude, but I'm not going to act like he's the most durable fighter ever. Like Brunson sat him down. Vettori hurt him early. I think he's better early for sure. Like Cannonier is probably going to be the one winning down the stretch if it goes that far. I'll just say I'm not very convicted about this fight one way or another. Most of my action is on the prelims, but I am excited about just watching the fight as a fan. So I'm going to kick back for this one. But yeah, I do think Cannonier is a live dog. And if it hits the cards, yeah, this is another one where I'm kind of like, Cannonier's the heavier hitting dude, and I can see him winning by knockout, certainly. But I actually feel like it's a Cannonier fucking split or it's an Imavov knockout. And I feel like it could be potentially a breaking out party for Imavov. So I'm going to pick him by knockout, but I'm not betting it, dude. Like I may take a flyer on it, but I doubt it. It's with no conviction at all, but I don't hate the Cannonier side at all. And yeah, I can see him winning the moments, and like, he's got really fucking good cardio, no USADA. So maybe he got some stem cells up in that knee, and we just see what's what. But yeah, best of luck, everyone. But give me Imavov like 55-45.
Can I ask 2 cents a question here with the bet?
Of course.
So, do you like anything with Imavov late for a KO, or do you think the KO's like, again, not completely front loaded, but like, do you think if it happens, is it early, or do you think it's like attritional and late?
I feel like it is earlier, honestly, like because Cannonier settles into the fight, but I don't know. It's tough to tell. If I was going to bet it by KO, it'd probably just be straight up. But yeah, it's not. I'll probably stay away from it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We have gone for nearly 2 hours on this breakdown of Louisville. This is longer than we went for the pay-per-view. But yeah, a lot of interesting takes. I ended up putting that random dog into the Zhongli this week. After all, the random dog, by the way, if you couldn't guess, is Zach Reese. So Zach Reese, you are getting bet. You're put into the Zhongli. The Zhongli has Eduardo Mora. It has Ludovic Klein. It has Zach Reese, Raul Rosa, and finishing with Jared Cannonier for a plus 1,800 Zhongli for the week. Put in your unit of choice there. But go around to the panel, and we're going to finish this one in 2 hours. So under 20 seconds, Lou, what's coming up the rest of the week?
Nothing. Belmont video tomorrow at 3 p.m. and then my usual nonsense at midnight, both on the MMA Engine channel. And thank you. Love the panel. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'd love to have you as always. 2 cents. What you got coming up the rest of the week?
First and foremost, shout out to you, Aaron. Thank you, as always, for having me. I really do appreciate it. I apologize for my outbursts and lack of decorum. And yes, my seething jealousy at Lou greeting fucking Big Show with a well, it reared its ugly head. So yeah, I'm glad y'all got to experience that. But shout out to all you guys, and truly best of luck. Yeah, me and Lou is we're gonna fucking work ourselves into a shoot here eventually. But no, man, I love all you guys. Best of luck. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Chat was fucking like truly like on a different level. Fucking, I'm lost for words, but yeah, they were it was their finest hour. So shout out to all of them. Make sure you smash the like button for Aaron, and yeah, best of luck, everyone. I will be doing my pregame on my channel. It is what you see there, just my 2 cents, and then yeah, I'll be at the pub on Saturday, cashing some tickets, hopefully. So yeah, best of luck, everyone. Thanks again, Aaron.
Yep, well done, Jimmy. And lucky you don't have anything, so we'll see you next week for whatever UFC is next week. See you all next week. Good luck on the bets this weekend. Peace out. Happy birthday, Mick.